a duo, I realized that, you know, we thought we were sort of just in the, we thought we were in the Beatles or AC/DC. It felt, even though we were playing with a drum machine, it felt very vivid to us. But I think from a distance, it probably seemed very experimental and strange. And then as soon as we got a live band, the show became much more celebratory, and people really were dancing, and it just actually suddenly seemed a lot less precious and neurotic just from a distance.
And live in the sense that, live, as opposed to being in the studio and produced.
Yeah. Yes, and loud was the other thing.
Yeah.
Yes, loud.
Very loud.
Yeah. And you still have your hearing, though.
Some of it, yeah.
Just for decoration right now.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, all right, you brought us up to the 1990s.
Yep.
But you stopped there.
But then there's the dynamic internet years, the failed vodka launches. No, there's we basically we got into MP3s right as the whole Napster thing was happening, and we actually released an album online very early on. And you know, we've done a lot of things. We've embraced a lot of emerging technology just as it comes along. And what's funny is that if you just take that on as a posture, people tend to think of you as being very market savvy or like thinking about, you know, how you're branding what you're doing. But I think for us, it's actually just kind of an interesting excuse to do a different kind of work, you know.
Well, I was going to just, I wanted to just tie it back to MP3
sure,
for just a moment, because of course now streaming music is Pandora, is Spotify, is all of these kinds of things.
All that money.
Yeah, right. Which you didn't necessarily get your hands around all of that.
No, I don't. I think. Yeah, I keep on wondering why you can't get a legitimate statement from Spotify and Pandora. It's like that part of it has to remain a mystery. You know, when you consider that everything is, the records are so easy to keep now, why can't they just pass them along to the artist?
Like tell you how many people listened and how many songs they listened to and the songs they liked the most.
Well, it's like the IRS, I think. The nerve center actually has the least amount of information about themselves.
I think it's more like Netflix, like they just don't want you to know. There's so many hit shows on Netflix.
That's what the IRS is.
Now, do you use these services yourself?
I pay for Spotify, but I don't really use it.
I've never used Spotify. Not as a matter of principle, but I'll say that, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, the point being that you're in the business, right?
Oh, sure.
You're in this music business. So you'd think, well, they've got to be hip with everything that's going on in the business.
Maybe I'm kind of a Luddite. I'm still going on iTunes to get music. You know.
iTunes.
I just bought my third dual turntable.
You can show kids what they used to use in order to play music.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I want you to talk a little bit about the music that you've done.
Oh, well, that was that was the big change in the early 2000s for us. We actually got sort of a strange offer from a record company to just do a one-off kids album, and we kind of figured it would be like doing a Christmas album or just doing some kind of casual other kind of project. And it was right around the same time that there was a documentary film being made about us, and we'd also won a Grammy. So there are all these things making us feel like the idea of the band had actually finally become established. I mean, even though we had worked as a band for 20 years, for a good period of that, we just felt like we were just trying to get some kind of toehold in the culture, and we finally felt like we were in a safe place.
I would say, like at the end of the '90s, we started doing a lot of other projects.
Yeah,
we'd done things. We kind of, I feel like we'd made a point of not doing commercial work for years before that. Like that was
to do your own work, to do what you wanted to do.
Well, that was the main thing, but also I think we thought it would confuse people if we were doing a lot of commercials and
television and movies.
We got offers and we were like, oh no, we're way above that. We don't do that. And then I think we climbed down from our ivory tower in 1998 or something like that.
But the big surprise is we did this kids record that was hugely successful, not just with like parents and kids and sales, but like, you know, critically it got all this attention because it was a real man bites dog kind of story. You know, like regular rock bands did not make children's records. It was considered sort of forbidden territory, and so it generated a crazy amount of buzz. And then we ended up picking up this big DVD deal with Disney and made a bunch of animated Disney DVDs that came out great, and we got a Grammy for that, and it was an incredible ride.
Is there a difference in how they listen to music?
Absolutely, and that was something we discovered once we'd started doing it, and was really full of positives that we didn't anticipate. Didn't occur to us for some reason that when you're writing music for kids, you're introducing them to entire kinds of music.
You got any interest in doing anything on Broadway?
We have been approached, and it's one of those things where it's such a complicated negotiation that we have yet to find the right combination of, producer, book writer, whatever it is, whatever it would be. I think we're a little bit nervous about taking on something that involves so many other cooks. But we love the Broadway musical. I love the Book of Mormon.
I'm going to ask you just a couple questions to get to know you a little bit more. What is your favorite book? Do you have a favorite book?
Favorite book? Oh, boy. I don't have a single favorite book. I still think about this book. I really liked Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides.
Your favorite book while he's answering.
I'm thinking about it's called Bold-Faced Names, and it is pure gossip. It's like he actually points out at the beginning of it, like most times when you read like a star's autobiography, you just want to get to the hot parts. Well, I've taken out all the not hot parts. This is just the hot parts. There are crazy stories about meeting, like having Noel Coward coming on to him, accidentally meeting Jack Kennedy, like spontaneously spending a day with John Kennedy while he's president, John Kennedy's president, which must have been just like a complete mind blower. He's a strange guy, but it's a fascinating and singular book.